So I've hauled over 250 books these past 3 months.
Let's go.
Hi everyone, welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin. Today I'm going to do a book haul. I was planning on doing a book haul in January because my last book haul was until the end of July and I thought, okay, July until the end of the year, I won't have that much to haul. So I've decided I'm going to do a book haul now before the end of the year. So I do have a lot. I mean, there's more down that way. You'll have seen in the thumbnail, there's like loads more down there, but these are just the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of stacks you can see. 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 stacks altogether. I feel like a lot of these you would have already seen because I've done some unboxing videos prior in vlogs, an own dedicated unboxing as well for a certain thing. But yeah, I thought I would just talk about all of them in this video. My counting might be wrong, but I think there are 258 books, yeah. Yeah, 258 books in 3 months. In 3 months, yeah. So I didn't buy all of these. I actually have a lot of them that were sent to me from publishers. I had quite a few that I thrifted from eBay, and so I got like some fantastic deals. And I feel like a lot of these are investments. A lot of these are investment books for video projects, video ideas that I have coming up. So they will be getting used. That's why this seems so excessive, is that as soon as I see that amazing deal on eBay, it's mine. It's mine. Especially since I don't want to let something slip through my fingers, something that I want to do in the future. So I do feel like a lot of these were investments. So I haven't spent a ridiculous amount. I did get a couple of books sent to me from some lovely people as well. So thank you so much. But yeah, I will get straight into it because I don't want this video to be overly long. So firstly, I have the Stubby Yearbook by Alice Oseman. This was sent to me from the publisher and I'm so happy because you know how much I love Heartstopper. I'm wearing my Heartstopper jumper right now because it's such a miserable day. It's raining non-stop and it's great because I love weather like this. But yeah, I thought I would put on my cozy Heartstopper jumper and tell you all about the books I've hauled in the past 3 months. Oh, these are in no order as well. I got this I think like 2 weeks ago, and a lot of these are from, you know, start of August, September, things like that. So there's no order to this. So yeah, this is just a companion to the Heartstopper graphic novel series. It has a lot of information about certain characters. There we have Nick and, you know, just sketches and things. Oh, some fantastic things. 2019, I think, goes through like year by year of the Heartstopper history and stuff like that. So I can't wait to flick through this. It looks so good. And again, thank you so much to the publisher, Hodder, for sending me this book. Just imagine me having to put all of this back. Imagine. Okay, next, I have Animal Crossing Volume 3 Deserted Island Diary. I got this from Forbidden Planet because there was a 3 for 2 offer. Or was it like buy 2, get 1 free? Well, that's still a 3 for 2 offer. And it was like the first time I'd been in Forbidden Planet in such a long time. And I have the first 2 volumes of this. It's so cute. This is based on the Animal Crossing New Horizons game. So this is so awesome to have. It's so cute and so wholesome. It literally just follows some islanders going through their day-to-day lives, and yeah, I can't wait to go through all of the volumes. Then we have, oh, a bit of a change of pace, to be honest. We have Love is an Illusion, Volume 1 by Fargo. This is mature, and this was also in Forbidden Planet in the 3 for 2, and there were a lot of manga that I wanted to get. This was after I discovered One Piece and really got sucked into the manga wormhole. I was looking for other first volume mangas in Forbidden Planet, but a lot of the first volumes are missing, so I couldn't really get a volume of something that I really wanted to try out. So this was on the table, it was in the offer, and I was like, you know what, let's go for it. I believe this is still yaoi. I know there are different definitions of yaoi, but this is mature gay manga. This one is about an omega and an alpha relationship. I believe omegas can be impregnated by an alpha regardless of base gender, and alphas respond to omega's pheromones and can impregnate an omega. So this is like essentially a guy can get pregnant. I did read Scattering His Virgin Bloom earlier this year, and that was the same kind of premise, and I did like the premise of it. I wasn't the biggest fan of Scattering His Virgin Bloom, but this one does look a lot more cute. I mean, look at the cover of that. Like, that's so cute and wholesome. Well, also, I'm DTF. Down to fucking read a dirty book. I did pick up Little Witch Academia Volume 2. This was before I read Volume 1 and realised just how chaotic it is and how much I couldn't really follow the story. But I did still enjoy the world of it. I love the whimsiness of it. And I really want to still continue trying out the volumes because I know sometimes Volume 1s aren't always the best. And I'm going to be trying the anime as well because I've heard that you have to watch the anime alongside reading the manga so you'll understand it better. So I'm going to give that a try. This one does follow Akko. She is a witch. And And I can't really tell you too much about the first one's about because it was just chaos. It was absolute chaos. And it was so much fun though. Like, I did have fun reading it. It was just chaotic and I couldn't follow along all that well. Okay, next I picked up the first 4 omnibuses of One Piece. You would have already seen these because I did a whole One Piece East Blue Saga review. And this is the entire East Blue Saga. It's split into sagas and arcs within those sagas. And I'm going to go through arc by arc from now on. But in the early days of my One Piece journey, which was only a month ago, I decided to get the omnibus editions because these were quite easy to get hold of, but then as they go on, they get so much more harder to get hold of. And so I was looking at them all like, oh god, this is going to be really hard to get investment wise. I just don't think I'll be able to afford getting all of these. And people were selling them for ridiculous amounts as well. So I was struggling a little bit, but One Piece. This does follow Luffy. He wants to be king of the pirates, but there was this pirate that was executed at the start of the series and he's left behind the One Piece, which will essentially make you the pirate king. A lot of people want to get their hands on this One Piece, and 10 years later Luffy is looking for a crew to help him find the One Piece. It is so fantastic. I've absolutely loved it, loved it, loved it. I've read the East Blue Saga now and the Reverse Mountain arc. I will be reading more and more and more. I have way more videos coming for One Piece, but yeah, this was just, I loved it. This was an investment, but not as much of an investment as literally what's going to happen next. So all of these 3 stacks here are the One Piece volumes that I ended up buying off eBay. So there was a lovely seller. I'll get... Well, this is randomly volume 7. Randomly volume 7. This isn't in any order. I just took them off the shelf and popped them on. Somebody was selling all of the One Piece volumes on eBay for such a reasonable price as well. Like, when I tallied it all up, it was just under how much retail price would be, and that's including the fact that it's eliminating all of the stress of trying to find them one by one and postage and things like that. It was like such a huge investment, but it's something that just eliminated so much stress and anxiety for me trying to find these volumes, knowing how hard some of these volumes are to find. So yeah, I know it was crazy. I know it was madness, but it's just made everything so much easier now, so now I don't have to worry about finding them. Now I can just read them and enjoy them and make videos on them. That's all I want to do. So yeah, I got all 100 volumes at once on eBay. Thank you to the seller so much. Like, thank you so much. Love you. I've already told you what One Piece is about, so I won't talk too much about it. But yeah, it was definitely like my best purchase decision ever. And I do have a whole unboxing video on unboxing One Piece, and I'll leave that link down in the description box if you want to check it out. But yeah, you will have already seen me hold these, so I don't need to show you all of them. But yeah, I'll just look, there's just so many of them and I love them so much. Volume 1, so good. Okay, I need to shut up and go on to the next thing. I also need to move these so that they're not in my way. So I do have some Fairy Loot books here as well, so I'll not talk too much about these because I do have these in unboxings as well. But The Darkening by Sonia Mare. This was another really pretty Fairy Loot edition that was sent to me. This one follows Prince Darker, who has to protect his home from a storm. We also follow Vesper Vale, and the Queen has sentenced her mother to death to die in this storm. And so Vesper and her father have run away and they're trying to save the mother. And I believe both worlds collide, both worlds clash, and yeah, I think it's just a YA fantasy romance that could potentially be really good. I love the cover of it. I also managed to get my hands on the Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi set. This is a really stunning set from Fairy Loot. I haven't read these books yet, but as soon as they were made available, I was like, I do want to read these at some point. I love Roshni Chokshi. Absolutely love the Arusha series. And I believe I tried to read this a few years back, but at the time I was so overwhelmed with loads of other books that I didn't get a chance to finish it. But it does have a stunning Under the Dust jacket, as well as end papers, but honestly it's the sprayed edges that just call to me. All I know about the series is that it is set in Paris in 1889, and we follow a treasure hunter, and he is tasked to find a treasure or something like that. Not 100% sure, but I do know a lot of people have read this. I feel like this is quite popular on BookTube. So yeah, I'm really excited to give these a read. I also managed to get the Scythe set. This is the set with the dust jackets on. I do have an unboxing for these, which I will also link down in the description box. But yeah, these were from Fairy Loot. I absolutely adore the Scythe Arc of a Scythe series by Neil Shusterman. Read them about 3 years ago when I first joined BookTube and absolutely adored them. Well, I adore the first 2. The third book was disappointing to me, but I do feel like I need to reread it now that my expectations are a lot lower and because I know what I'll be going into. So I do absolutely love the series. It's dystopian. It's in a world where people don't die, but we do have scythes who glean people so that they do keep the death balance in order and stuff like that. And we follow Rowan and Citra. What were they called again? I think this is why I need to reread this. Yeah, Citra and Rowan. Oh my god. They become apprentices to a scythe can't remember his name. Was it Scythe Goddard? No, I feel like Scythe Goddard was someone else. Scythe someone, and only one of them can make it out of this apprenticeship alive. So yeah, I love this series so much. And I'm looking forward to a set of short stories I believe are coming out next month. I think they're short stories anyway. I also got my hands on the 4th and final compendium of The Walking Dead by Robert Kirkman, Charlie Adlard, Stefano Quintano, and Cliff Rathburn. I read all of Walking Dead earlier this month and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic series, graphic novel series about a zombie apocalypse, and you've probably heard it through the TV show. Well, the TV show is ending next month, so that's why I decided to read all of the comics in the lead up to the series finale of the TV show. And honestly, what a ride it was. I cried at the end of this. I absolutely cried at the end of this. There were some fantastic volumes. I didn't love the way it ended, but it still packed an emotional punch. And I'm so happy and grateful that I read all of the compendiums of The Walking Dead. But this was the last one I needed. I had the first 2 compendiums for probably like 9 years now or something. I've had them for a very long time. So it was a good time to knock them off my TBR. And I'm so glad I did. After my Goosebumps video last year, I've had quite a lot of requests to do more book series and other kind of nostalgic ones too. So a lot of people asked me about the Are You Afraid of the Dark series, and I did love the TV show, and I didn't even know that there were books, and I think there's only like 23 books of them, but they are quite hard to get hold of. But I found a couple of them on eBay. They were bundled in with a couple of Goosebumps books, and with the price being so reasonable, I was like, okay, let's go for it. So I have 2 Are You Afraid of the Dark books, The Tale of Cutter's Treasure, which is number 2, and also The Tale of the Mogul Monster, which is number 22. So I do have 2 of them. So I am going to try and get all of them and do a complete series reading vlog for them, probably by October next year. So I'm keeping an eye out on eBay for more of these. But yeah, I love the series so much. It was essentially just a group of teens. They would sit around the campfire and tell each other really scary stories. And some of those stories that they told in the TV show terrified me. So it'll be really interesting and exciting to see what the books are like. Okay, so another another series that a lot of people requested. And again, I was so lucky to find an eBay seller selling all of them at once. So that's another reason why this book haul is rather large. And that is because I managed to get all of the Fear Street books by R.L. Stine. I'll put that pile there. So yeah, all of the Fear Street books. There are 51 in total, and they are rather old. You can tell by how yellow the pages are on a lot of them. And some of these are ex-library copies. Some of these are even first editions too, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, I got another really good, reasonable price for the entire Fear Street set by an eBay seller, so I couldn't pass it up because this is probably one of the most requested book series that I've ever been told to read on my channel. So many people after Goosebumps were like, Fear Street, Fear Street, Fear Street. And so I'm like, yes, let's do it. But do you know how hard these are to get hold of? So again, I just took the opportunity. That seller was selling all of them at once, and I don't think there would have been any other opportunity for me to do it because I do desperately want to read all of these for a vlog, and I can't get them on Kindle, I can't get them in my library, I can't really get them one by one on eBay and Amazon and things like that. So getting them all at once, again, eliminated so much stress and anxiety trying to find them all, and I saved so much money in doing so. So thank you so much to that seller for selling them all. And yeah, so now I have them all. I'm excited. I've only ever read the first 4, which are these 4. I've only ever read these ones, and I liked them. There were a few problems I had with a few of them, which I do have a reading vlog for, so I will link that down below as well, but I do want to go over these again. I'll reread the first 4 and then read the rest of them as well. 51 in total, and yeah, Fear Street is essentially Goosebumps, but for teens, I guess. Yeah, just different things happen, scary things happen, so Fear Street. Okay, so the rest of these are, we have YA and adult mixed together, and then I have middle grade at the end. So 6 pre-orders come in recently, and I mean, I will go through them one by one. One of them is Natalie Haynes' Stone Blind. This one is the Waterstones exclusive, which is absolutely stunning and beautiful. This one actually follows Medusa, and she realizes that she can be hurt, whereas her sisters can't. It also goes through what actually happened to Medusa, how she got the snakes in her hair. And I don't really know a whole lot about Medusa. I don't really know the history of it. I know certain things, but it'll be really interesting to go through it and see it unfold in a sort of fictional way. And I really enjoyed Circe by Madeline Miller as well, so I feel like if it's told in that same kind of vein, then I'm going to really enjoy this too. And I feel like Medusa's going to be the kind of heroine that I will feel so much pity and sympathy for, but also feel really intrigued by their journey. So yeah, this one is one of the pre-orders that came in, as well as the Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. This is the 3rd book in the Skullman series. very, very shiny and reflective, and it has these sprayed edges. So yeah, this is the second sequel to A Deadly Education. The Last Graduate is the book before it, but it is essentially set in a sort of magic school. We follow characters and we learn things about them. And there must be some kind of threat as well. So fantasy book 101 right there. I also had my pre-order of Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm a little apprehensive of this one, but I still want to give it a go. This one follows Carrie Soto, and I believe she cameoed in Malibu Rising. And I read Malibu Rising earlier this year, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Malibu Rising, not gonna lie. We have Carrie Soto, she is a tennis player, but she's retired. And now she's coming out of retirement because someone's broke her record, so she wants to break the record again. That automatically sounds a little bit weird to me. Sounds like somebody who is a little bit bitter. But I'll be interested to see how she comes out of retirement, how she learns to do tennis again and stuff like that. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm not going to write it off just yet. I will give it a go. And I think it's set in the 90s. My pre-order for Babel by R.F. Guan came in as well. This is the Waterstones edition. I have none of the other fancy editions. I know there's a Fairy Loot edition and a Illumicrate edition, but this is the only edition of Babel that I have. And this one is Dark Academia. I haven't read a whole lot of Dark Academia. I think the only one I've read is If We Were Villains, so I can't really tell you too much about it. But yeah, this is set in Oxford in 1836, and there is like the Royal Institute of Language, I believe. Royal Institute of Translation, sorry. The tower from which all the power of the empire flows. But we follow Robin Swift, who gets brought to England by a mysterious guardian, and strange and mysterious things happen. I mean, I should have read this by now because this is one of my most anticipated, but I'm stuck in a bit of a rut where I seem to only be reading books for video projects, and I have so many video project ideas in my head that trying to read for pleasure, trying to read books that I'm actually, really anticipating, has become nigh impossible. So this is top of my priority list to read as soon as I get one day of a break from making videos and, all of that. So I will get to you eventually, I promise. I just need to be nicer to myself, honestly. My pre-order for Wolfsong by TJ Klune also came with this beautiful sprayed edge too. I really love that. This is Waterstones, I think, a Waterstones exclusive. So we actually follow Ox, and I think when he turns 16, a family move in next door, and they're a family of shapeshifters. Ox, I believe, also falls in love with the boy next door, and I think there's a murder. I don't know who gets murdered, and I don't want to know who gets murdered, but Ox is like drawn into this family's magic as well as mystery. So yeah, I'm so excited for it. I did really love The House in the Cerulean Sea. So I have every faith that I'm going to end up loving Wolfsong, especially if it has some gayness in it too. And then another pre-order was The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman. This is the third book. I don't know if it has an official title of the series, but it is part of the Thursday Murder Club series. That's what the first book's called. And it's essentially a group of pensioners who live in a retirement home who solve murders and crimes. Again, I'm saving these for a reading vlog. I'm saving them for a project, which again, I'm trying to get it out of my head. Like, stop thinking I have to read things for projects and vlogs. But I want to read them all in a row. I want to read them one after the other, and tell you guys about it. So yeah, I'm excited. I do think this is going to be really good. And I believe our retirement village gang have to solve a cold case in this one, so that's really exciting. My Fairy Loot edition of Empress Crowned in Red by Shannon Smart came too. This is the sequel to Witches Steeped in Gold. I know a lot of people don't really like Witches Steeped in Gold, but I'm still excited to read this one. I have the Fairy Loot edition of Witches Steeped in Gold, so I had to get the Fairy Loot edition of the sequel. It is absolutely gorgeous though, under the dust jacket, like that, the stencil edge making it look like a spell book. Honestly, I just love it so much. I asked one of my former colleagues for a recommendation in the sci-fi and fantasy section, and he gave me The Book of Sand by Mo Hader. I had seen this before, but I don't think I was ever really interested in picking it up. However, it was his recommendation, so the summary of this is rather vague, but I think we have these shifting sands, and there are different families who are trying to find a certain object, trying to escape these sands. Other families wanted to, they are willing to fight for it, and you know that you may have to kill just to stay alive. I mean, it does sound really good. So yeah, this was based on a recommendation, and I'm gonna try it. Next, I have the Disaster Taurus by Yun Cohen. This one was sent to me by Áslaug, so thank you so much for sending me this. I'm so excited to read this after seeing it on somebody's booktube channel. I think it might have been Emmy It might have been Emmy who talked about this, or it was someone. But I really enjoyed the sound of the premise. So we follow Yona, and she works for Jungle, and Jungle take people to disaster zones, to like places where like a terrorist attack happened, or a natural disaster happened, or like massacres, you know, things like that, as a tourist attraction. So Yona is sent to a specific location by Jungle to see this location, but Yona ends up getting trapped at this location, and I have no idea what happens next, and I don't want to know until I've read it. But it's so short, and I've honestly been really wanting to read this since I saw it on, I think it was Emmy's channel. I've seen good reviews for it as well, so this is definitely high up on my priority to read list. I also picked up Japanese ghost stories by Lafcadio Hearn, and I've been really interested in reading more mythology, more things to do with Japanese culture and folk tales, and the cover of this, shivers, absolute shivers. Oh, it scares me already just from the cover alone. So I can only imagine how scary this book actually is. You know, it also has a lot of illustrations. It goes through different ghostly Japanese stories. And yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting read. So the next, I do have a 14-book series that I got all of them off eBay one by one for pretty cheap. And it should be no surprise because I did put a poll up in my YouTube community tab. And that is Gossip Girl by, who's it by? Cecily von Ziegesar. I'm going to check out how to pronounce her name properly. But I do have all 14 books. So this is the 13 of them there, like the actual 13 series. But then there's also Gossip Girl Psycho Killer. This is a retelling of the very first Gossip Girl book. Gossip Ghoul could be a good Halloween spin-off. But Gossip Girl, the first book, it's a spin-off of that, where I think there is a killer, a psycho killer, and it's more of a slasher than a sort of teen drama romance. And it's retold by the actual author as well, so it's going to be really interesting to read that after I finish the series, because I didn't know this existed at all. I had no idea. So that's going to be so interesting. But yeah, Gossip Girl follows an elite group of people who are in New York's Upper East Side, I think, and they get a lot of their drama revealed online by Gossip Girl, and they have no idea who Gossip Girl is. It's a little Pretty Little Liars-esque, but I think Gossip Girl came first, and the TV show, of course, is based on the series too. So I'm going to do a complete series reading vlog for these in February, or at least that's the plan. You guys actually voted for me to read the entire Vampire Diaries series first, so I'm going to read Vampire Diaries first, and then I'll get to Gossip Girl in February. Next, I picked up The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, and I picked this up because of how many people are loving this book recently. So many people are reading it and loving it and enjoying it, saying it's like one of their favourites of the year so far, and so now would be the perfect time to read it if I didn't already have every single hour of the day booked in. But it does sound and look fantastic. We follow Mika, who is a witch, and she's hid her magic from everyone forever, but she gets an invitation to, what's it called again? The Nowhere House, to teach 3 young witches, and she ends up jumping at the opportunity to do that, just to change her life up a bit. It just sounds so whimsical and magical, and I'm here for it. I'm so here for it, especially in the autumn, in the fall. It's gonna be perfect. I also got my very first Litjoy crate ever, and that was because I knew what the book was, and that was Twin Crowns by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Webber. It has these beautiful, like, what's the sparkly gold sprayed edges, and it's the same cover as normal, but it is signed. Under the dust jacket is where it's at though. But my first Litjoy crate ever, and I needed this one. I needed it. Oh, there is a reverse dust jacket actually. I didn't even realise that. I want to put it this way on. Yeah, I want to put it this way on. I'm a little scared about ruining it. Okay, I've changed it up now because I really do love the reverse dust jacket art. It looks so good. But yeah, Twin Crowns I've talked about to death on my channel before. I've hauled so many different versions of the book as well. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 5th version of it. But I really enjoy it. It's great. It's YA fantasy romance, and it's follows 2 sisters who were separated at birth, and one of them wants to claim the crown, whereas the other sister already has the crown, and they don't realise that they're sisters, but they are enemies. So that was a really crappy way of describing it, but you know. I also picked up The Devil's Own Work by Alan Judd. I picked this one up so I could read it at the Haunted Castle, where I was recently at, and I did read this, and I did like it a lot. I gave it 4 stars. It follows a young author who slams this older author and essentially slags him off in a review, and he ends up getting invited to that author's house where that author dies, and he becomes in possession of a manuscript, a haunted manuscript that is haunted by a ghost. So it is really short but pretty good as well. I did enjoy it, and it was perfect to read in a haunted castle. A huge thank you to the publisher for sending me Love in Winter Wonderland by Abigail Bello, and this one comes out in November. This will be perfect for the Christmas season coming up too. So this one follows Trey and Ariel. So Trey works at a bookshop called Wonderland, and Ariel is looking for a job, so she ends up getting a position at Wonderland. And Trey and Ariel don't hit it off right away. They actually dislike each other to begin with, but then I think as Christmas nears, they start falling in love. Yeah, this sounds like so Hallmark-esque, and I love books like that. I really, really do. My pre-order of Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood came as well, the author of The Love Hypothesis, which I read earlier this year and enjoyed. So we have Marie, who is a student of neuroengineering, I believe, and she meets a guy called Levi. I think this is Enemies to Lovers. So yeah, that'll be really interesting. I think she's also called B as well, because they've changed her name to B on the back of it. So Marie is actually called B. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. But yeah, this is the Waterstones exclusive with the blue sprayed edge. It looks nice. It looks pretty. I also got sent the Somera Trials by Aidan Thomas from the publisher. Aidan Thomas is the author of Cemetery Boys. The Somera Trials are trials where whoever loses is sacrificed, and we follow Tio, who is the 17-year-old trans son of the goddess of birds, and it seems like Tio might be involved in these upcoming trials. I picked up The Creeper by A.M. Shine from Waterstones because I was instantly drawn in by the cover and the premise of it as well, because it sounds so creepy and brilliant for Halloween and for October. This one follows a doctor who goes to this remote Irish village, and there is a creeper urban legend around that everyone in the village seems to be terrified of. None of the villagers want to talk about him, but the legend is 3 times you see him, each time he gets closer. And that sent shivers down my spine. I probably should have read this at the Haunted Castle, to be honest. It looks so good. I also picked up the exclusive edition of Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong, the author of These Violent Delights. This one follows Rosalind in Shanghai, and 4 years prior, she actually was involved in an accident where she was brought back through experiments or something, and it's meant that she won't be able to age or sleep now. And because of this, she ends up becoming an assassin. It reminds me of... It's like, I'm sure it was a TV show, Bionic Woman or something. I can't remember what it was called, but it starred somebody from EastEnders. I'll put it on the screen when I find out who it is. But it sounds like a little bit like that, and I quite like that TV show from what I remember. So yeah, this sounds really good, and I'm really interested in reading some more by Chloe Gong. I also got the 30th anniversary edition of The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I've never read this before, but I do know that this is the sort of grandmama of Dark Academia. And a lot of people call this one of their favourite Dark Academia books, if not their favourite. So it'll be really interesting to give this one a try at some point. I don't know what's so special about it though, because isn't this just like the normal cover of it? Like, they haven't really done anything different with it. But I thought, you know what? I do need to pick it up. I do want to read it at some point. So why not just pick it up now? This one follows a group of misfits in a New England college, and they theorise, they do Dark Academia things, and it leads them down a dark path. So that's that one. A huge thank you to Tracy for sending me Clown in a Cornfield 2, Friend or Lives. I'm so excited to read this one. I love Clown in a Cornfield so much. This is by Adam Caesar. I read the first one like 2 years ago now, so I do want to reread the first one and go into this one, even though I can still remember quite a lot of the first one, and I can't say that a lot about books I read 2 years ago, so that's a feat. That is a feat. But yeah, this one looks terrifying. It looks so scary, and clowns, you know. This is a sequel, so I can't really tell you the plot of this one, but in the first one we do follow Quinn, who moves to Kettle Springs, and yeah, there's just like this weird clown that seems to be following her, and it leads to this bloody bloodbath, and it's just so much fun. It's a really fun slasher for teens. I mean, it is quite brutal as well. There were some moments that shocked me that it was YA in the first one, and I just really enjoyed it. I loved it, actually. So yeah, thank you so much, Tracy, for sending me this. A huge thank you to @MarlaBakes from Twitter, who sent me To Sleep in a Safe Stars by Christopher Polini. And again, this is one that I've heard so many fantastic things about, but it is huge. It's very scary and intimidating. And all I know about this is that there is an uncolonized alien planet, and I think we follow Cira, who finds an alien artifact. That's all I pretty much know about it. But it does sound really, really good, and I do want to read more sci-fi. So yeah, even though it's big and scary, I'm excited to read it. So again, thank you so much for sending me it. Another one which I think I actually got from Fairy Loot, but I can't remember now. Violet Made of Thorns by Gina Shen. And the sprayed out, okay, I think it is Fairy Loot. It also has a ribbon bookmark, which is essentially really cool. So this one follows Violet, and she influences the royal court because she is a prophet, but she's also a liar. The king asks her to falsely prophesy something, and in doing so awakens a deadly curse, which I'm unsure what that is or what it entails, but it sounds really good. Love the cover of it. Sounds great. Yeah, thank you so much, Fairy Luke. Oh, one that I've been really excited to read actually because I'm really enjoying like murder mysteries and like historical mashed together, and that is Miss Aldridge Regrets by Louise Hay. And I love this cover. It feels very 1920s, a little bit Chicago-esque, with the kind of added element of the Titanic at the bottom there. Is this Titanic? I don't think this is the Titanic. No, it's not. It's set in London in 1936, so it's not even Chicago. So this one follows Lena in London, and she is a singer. I believe she sings in clubs, but she's offered a chance to sing on Broadway and get on the Queen Mary on the way to New York. And I believe she's trying to get away from a murder in this club. So murder ends up following her on this ship. So what's happening? What's going on? Sounds really good. It sounds really good. Really ominous. Gives off the best Agatha Christie vibes, apparently. And I'm here for that. Oh, another pre-order that came in. I have a couple of more pre-orders that came in. The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Loved Mexican Gothic, so I was really excited for this one to come in. And it has the pink sprayed edges. I really did want the green ones, actually, but never mind. I think this one retells the island of Dr. Moreau or something. Oh, who's it by? Why am I forgetting? Is it by Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft, Robert Louis Stevenson? By some classic author. I believe it's some kind of... It uses inspiration from that. So that's going to be really, really interesting to read. And again, I love Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing style, so I believe I will genuinely enjoy this one. Another pre-order was The Book Eaters by Sun Yideen. This one is the Waterstones edition with the black sprayed edges. So we follow, I think, the last line of families who are book eaters, and there is a child born into one of these families who is a mind eater, I believe, and they eat the mind and heart and souls of people rather than the books, apparently. And that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. So I believe these families are trying to figure out what's going on. I've heard good things about this one, so I'm really excited to pick it up. We also have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Again, this is another fantastic one that made the rounds on BookTube, I think back in June or when it came out, June, July, something like that. Nice sprayed edge as well. I don't just buy books based off sprayed edge, but it doesn't hurt. So this one follows Sadie and Sam, and they meet in a hospital room back in 1987, and they have a joint love for games, video games and things like that. And then 8 years later, they come across one another again randomly, and they reconnect. And I can't tell you much more than that, just that it might be a little bit sci-fi, potentially. I don't know, this cover gives me sci-fi vibes for some reason, but also 80s vibes, which is fantastic. I love that. I love the blend of that. So hopefully I'm not wrong. Hopefully that is kind of what it's about. Yeah, I picked it up based on how other people were so intrigued by it and how much they loved it. So I was essentially intrigued by it too. I also picked up The Island by Adrian McKinty, and this is signed. This is one of the reasons why I picked it up, but also because of the good reviews I've heard of The Chain. This one follows a family who I believe they've lost their mum, so they've now got a stepmom, and this family go to the Australian outback to a bit of a remote island as a bit of a getaway, and I think they aren't welcome. They aren't welcome on this island, and it's a fight for survival for this family. And that premise alone terrifies me, but also really intrigues me to read it. So excited to read it. I don't often pick up thrillers, but I've been really loving thrillers so far this year. So I'm really excited to see if I end up loving this one. And yeah, this one and the next one I picked up, which was The It Girl or The IT Girl by Ruth Ware. This one I picked up mainly because it was signed, and mainly because I do want to try more Ruth Ware, even though I didn't like the first one I read of hers, and I couldn't pass up a signed book. If I don't end up liking this, I will just pass it on to somebody who does love Ruth Ware. The synopsis of this is very vague. It follows April, who apparently 10 years before had discovered the body of someone called April, and her testimony might have put an innocent person behind bars. So that sounds really interesting, really good. Again, I don't know too much about it, or I don't know how much I'm going to love Ruth Ware. I am currently reading The Turn of the Key at the minute, and I'm enjoying that. So there could be a good sign, actually. It could be a good sign that I might end up liking some Ruth Ware, even though I didn't like One by One. But yeah, those were a couple of thrillers that I picked up, mainly because they were signed, but also because their premises really did... They stuck with me. They did. Okay, now we're finally on to the middle grade, and I have 2 stacks of these. Oh god. I was sent The Miraculous Sweetmakers, The Frost Fair by Natasha Hastings, illustrated by Alex T. Smith from the publishers. This looks so Christmassy and festive and beautiful. That is also really nice too. So this is set during the Great Frost of 1683, and we follow best friends who end up running one of their father's sweet shops, I believe. When a family tragedy turns Thomasina's world upside down, she is drawn to a mysterious conjurer and the enchanted Frost Fair. Oh, honestly, this could be one of the books that gets me back into reading middle grade this year, because I really want to read so many festive middle grades. Oh, it looks perfect. It looks perfect. It's so cute and small. Oh, thank you so much to HarperCollins for sending it. Huge thank you to Tracy for sending me the first 2 books in the Lightfall series. This is a graphic novel Gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations. So we follow a pig wizard and his granddaughter who protect, I think it's the Eternal Flame. Endless Flame. I'm thinking of Atomic Kitten. Then B meets Cad, who changes everything, and Cad and B end up going on an adventure. So it just looks so good and cute and beautiful, and I'm really excited to read these. So thank you again, Tracy, for sending them. I also picked up the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. I picked up these versions of them because I have really old editions of them, and they're a little bit unreadable now, and I really wanted these beautiful editions so that I can do a complete series reading vlog for Percy Jackson. But now they've announced a 6th book in Percy Jackson, so I'm wondering, should I wait until that book comes out and read that in the vlog too, which will be September next year? I don't know, but this was an investment because I really do want to do a blog on them, and you guys know what Percy Jackson is, and I'm really excited for the Disney Plus series as well. Or is it Netflix? What's it going to be on? Disney Plus or Netflix? I've forgotten. One of the two. But yeah, I got this from Barnes & Noble, really cheap, and really beautiful too. A huge thank you to the publisher for sending me The Arctic Railway Assassin by M.J. Leonard and Sav Sedgman. This one I think is the 6th. Is it the 6th or 7th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6th. 6th book in the Adventures on Train series, which follows Uncle Hal and his... Wait, hang on. It follows Hal and his uncle Nat. They solve mysteries on trains, and this one is set on the Arctic Railway. So that's really cool because it's going to be frosty and maybe not exactly festive. I don't know. Is it like set during Christmas? But they do travel to the Arctic Circle to see the Northern Lights. So yeah, another kind of wintry one that'll be perfect to read this winter. And I love the series so much. Oh my god. And then I picked up myself The Lost Girl King by Catherine Doyle. This is the Waterstones edition. I love Catherine Doyle and their previous series, The Stormkeeper's Island. This one follows Amy and Liam, and they are sent to live with their gran on the west of Ireland. They end up stumbling across the entrance to the Land of Eternal Youth through a waterfall, and that sounds like really magical and so cute. So it does lead them on this grand adventure. So yeah, it looks really good, and I love Catherine Doyle's writing. I also got sent the final copy of The Girl, the Ghost, and the Lost Name by Rhys Carter. This one I previously mentioned in the previous book haul because I got sent a proof copy of it, but it is a spooky middle grade, and we follow Corpse, who is taken in by witches, and she has no memory of what happened to her beforehand. There are zombie skeletons and monsters in this too, so I feel like it's going to be fantastic for Halloween. Oh, it just sounds so good. Thank you to the publisher as well for sending Spark by M.J. Leonard. This is the sequel to Twitch, which follows a young boy who ends up solving mysteries himself. This one, apparently there is a murder plot, and he is a bird watcher, so like he stumbles across these mysteries through his bird watching expertise. So yeah, that sounds like a really fun and clever one, and I love M.J. Leonard so much. Oh my god. Thank you to the publisher for sending me Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston. Love this book so much. I've already read it because I couldn't wait to read it. It is a sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers. Oh, this was just as good as the first one, if you ask me. You know what Amari and the Night Brothers is about. I talked about it to death on this channel, but this is a really great follow-up. A lot of, you know, mysteries are solved in a way, but more questions are asked. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more from this world, and this book just did not let me down. I really, really enjoyed it so much. Thank you so much to the publishers for sending me The Tree Keepers by Kieran Larwood. This one I believe is set in a village that is deep within the woods, and we follow Liska, who is trying to protect this village. There are temples and castles and mansions in this, and I believe I got the proof copy of this in the previous book haul, so I did mention it in that one as well, but they sent me the final copy, and the final copy is absolutely beautiful too, so thank you so much. I also picked up Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor by Zirin J. Zhao that I got from Waterstones, and this is from the same author as Iron Widow. This one follows Zachary Ying, and he is a huge gamer, but he's also a descendant of the first Emperor of China. Now the Emperor is back from the dead and wants Zachary's help. So it sounds so good, and I love middle grades that incorporate other cultures, so I'm really interested and excited to read this one. I also picked up Ola and the Wild Hunt by Anna Horton. This one, the cover really drew me in, and it looks very involved with nature. This one is another one that's set in Ireland, and we follow a couple of siblings who go to live with their gran after the death of their mother, but then in the middle of the night their gran disappears. So they end up having to find her, and I guess it leads them on this wild hunt in Ireland, and that sounds really interesting too, so I'm really excited to read that one. I also got the Waterstones exclusive of Alex Neptune Dragon Thief by David Owen. This one, it involves a water dragon who needs the help of Alex Neptune, and there are other sea monsters. There is an octopus, a seagull, 4 acrobatic otters. It sounds like a really fun, it almost makes me think of this could be a Pixar film almost. So I'm really interested in this. This was a book of the month, so I really wanted it, and with this sprayed edge too. I also picked up the 4th Arusha book, Arusha and the City of Gold by Roshni Chokshi. Read this one late last year, loved it so much. I think it's my favourite Arusha book so far, and I've been really loving picking up the American editions of these in paperback with these beautiful covers. These covers are so much better than the UK covers, by the way. And yeah, it was so good. I can't wait to read the 5th and final book in the Pandora Quintet series. I also picked up 9 more books from eBay. These ones I needed to complete my collection of Goosebumps Horrorland and Hall of Horror series so that I could read them in the vlog that's already up. I did read all of the Horrorland and Hall of Horrors books by R.L. Stine, so I've already read all of these, and some of them I liked, some of them I really did not like at all, but they're a fun time. eBay for the win. Honestly, eBay's fantastic. eBay I live off. Right, we have my final stack now. Thank you to the publisher for sending me The Rescue of Ravenwood by Natasha Farrant. This one I think I only got yesterday, actually. It doesn't really say what this one's about, it just says join 3 very different children for an epic tale of stowaway train rides, ancient trees, unlikely friendships, long lost relatives, and many, many different types of wildlife. So that's the only description that I'm given. But Natasha Farrant, they are a fantastic middle grade writer. So this one comes out in February 2023. So thank you so much, publisher, for sending me it. A huge thank you to Usborne for sending The Vanishing of Evelyn Jones by Phil Hicks. Love, love, love this series so much. So each Evelyn Jones book follows like a different story and different mystery, and some of it involves like witches, or some of it involves ghosts, and this one involves the mystery of her missing uncle. Honestly, such an underrated, great, spooky middle grade series. I would wholeheartedly recommend. I also picked up the 5th book in the Dragon Realm series, Dragon Destiny by Katie and Kevin Sang, and I got the Waterstones Sprayed Edge, so I have the Sprayed Edge for every Dragon Realm book. I think this is the 5th and final one. But yeah, the Dragon Realm series does follow 4 kids who end up bonding with dragons and getting superpowers from it. So a really fun, really creative and exciting middle grade series that I've really, really enjoyed. So I need to get on finishing the series and read this because I also love the cover so much. Looks very wintry again. I also had to pick up the 4th book in the Erion C series, Festagrim by Thomas Taylor. I love this cover so much. Love it. It reminds me of the Iron Giant. It looks so good, and I love the Erion C series so much. Herbie Lemon, Violet Palmer. These kids, honestly, they've been going for some time now. I think 2018 was when the first book came out, or was it 2019? 2019, I think. And I've really enjoyed every single book. So this is the 4th book, really excited to get into it. It is set in a seaside village where really like strange things happen. And I'm not sure what happens in this one, but it is the 4th book, so I don't want to spoil it. It just looks so fantastic. I love the series so much. I do. Thank you so much to the publisher for sending me Saving Neverland by Abby Elphinston. This is a proof copy and it comes out January 2023. This one follows 2 kids, Martha and Scruff, and they discover some golden dust in their bedroom, and I believe they're whisked away to Neverland. So it does borrow a lot of G.M. Barrie's Peter Pan story, and I think it tells it in a totally different way. And Saving Neverland, it doesn't really say anything else really, but I believe maybe they have to save it. But it does look really good, and I do like the story of Neverland, even if I'm not a big fan of the Peter Pan story in general. But I do think this one could be a winner, and I love Abby Elphinston so much. Great, great, great writer. Thank you to the publisher for sending me All 4 Quarters of the Moon by Shirley Moore, the author of A Glass House of Stars. This one follows Paging, and it says the night of the Mid-Autumn Festival making mooncakes with Amar was the last time Paging remembers her life being the same. Now facing a new home, a new school, and a new language, everything is different. Cracks are starting to appear in the family. So it seems like it's going to be a little bit whimsical, but in a very grounded contemporary way. And I'm so excited to read it. So thank you so much, Usborne, for sending me this. A huge thank you to Ryan Hammond for sending me Villains Academy, which is also written and illustrated by Ryan Hammond. I've been following Ryan for a while. He's a fantastic, fantastic illustrator. So this is his debut, his book debut, and it looks so good. I absolutely love the art style. Just look at that. It looks so good. Villains Academy, the school where it's always good to be bad. You will either leave here as a fully formed villain or in tatters. This one comes out in February. I don't know if I can show you the inside because this is a proof copy. It does seem so good. I can probably show you this, like the character list. It's almost like maybe a little Amelia Fang-esque. It just looks fab. Honestly, it just looks fab. So yeah, it looks so good. Thank you so much for sending me it. Beautiful. I can't wait to get the final copy of it as well. I also got sent The Magic Hour by David Wollstonecraft, and this one comes out in June 2023, so that's ages away really. There is no summary. All it says is what would you do with an extra hour every day. So I'm imagining it explores what you would do if you had an extra hour in the day. There is a lot of marketing and promo behind this too, so it might be a really big one in 2023, so maybe keep an eye out on this one. I feel like this one might be a big one. I picked up The Christmasaurus and the Naughty List by Tom Fletcher. I have the other books in the series too. Another really great Christmassy, festive, kind of middle grade series to read. It's essentially about a dinosaur that's a Christmas dinosaur. In the first one, he formed a bond with a young boy. I can't remember if the young boy is still in this. Oh yeah, William Trundle, the boy who saved Christmas twice. So they bond and they go on adventures together. So this is the third book. It looks so whimsical and so cute. So yeah, I'm excited to pick this one up. Thank you so much to the publisher for sending me The Tale of Truthwater Lake by Emma Carroll. Love Emma Carroll so much. Absolutely adore their writing. They usually write historical fiction. However, this one is set 10 years in the future. This one's set in summer 2032. This one explores the heat crisis, global warming, and there is Truthwater Lake, which is drying up, and the kind of mission that these kids feel they have to go on to try and save their home, their planet, essentially. And I love middle grades that explore that. So yeah, this is probably going to be another fantastic one by Emma Carroll. I've loved every single Emma Carroll book that I've read, so I think that one's going to be another fantastic one. Thank you to the publisher for sending me a proof copy of The Ministry of Unladylike Activity by Robin Stevens. I love this. That's so cool. This one is like a spin-off series to the Most Unladylike series, and we follow one of the main characters from that series, her sister. So yeah, this is set, I think, in the 1940s in London. So we have, you know, World War II, I think, in the background. And I think I'm going to really enjoy it. I did really like some of the Most Unladylike books that I've read. I'm really excited to read more of that because I still need to finish the series. But this one should be really good too to read. And again, thank you so much to the publisher for sending me it. I'm so hungry, like I need to get through this quickly. I've been filming for hours. Thank you to the publisher for sending me Which Way to Anywhere by Cressida Cowell. I read this one as soon as it came, although that was the proof copy, so I mentioned that in the previous book haul, and I told you what this book is about. But if you love The Wizards of Wands and you love Cressida Cowell's writing style, you will absolutely adore this. This one follows K2 and Isabird, and they go on an adventure. That's all I can pretty much say about it, but it's a magical, charming, hilarious adventure, and I really, really enjoyed it so much. A huge thank you to the publisher for sending me The Spectaculars by Jodie Garnish. I also believe I got sent an art copy of it in the previous book haul, so I might have already explained what this one's about. This one follows Harper, who is a spectacular, a gifted performer with powers from the stars. And I believe this was kind of like a Greatest Showman for middle grade kind of story. And Harper joins a traveling circus, things like that, and it sounds really good and it sounds really cute too. And I love, look at Under the Dust Jacket. Honestly, middle grades Under the Dust Jackets are absolutely gorgeous. Like, so stunning. Beautiful. Definitely want to read this ASAP. I also got sent Witchstorm by Tim Tilley. Tim Tilley is the author of Harplights, which is a fantastic middle grade. This one isn't a sequel or anything like that. It's a standalone book, but it has the same kind of feel and look to it. This one follows Will, and in the eye of a storm, a witch arrives, and he wants to get help to find his ma. His ma went missing years ago, I believe, and yeah, he sets out on an adventure to find her. This one I think is already out. It says September 2022 on the side, so yeah, thank you so much to the publisher for sending me this. I do want to get to this ASAP. Loved Harplights, I thought it was great, so yeah, thank you so much. So the next book I'm so excited to read is Operation Nativity by Jenny Pearson. Love this. Look at what it has on here. Ooh, whoops. It has a kind of sleeve around it saying, Gavin, you're cordially invited to the ultimate Christmas family adventure. I met up with Jenny Pearson a few months back for a school event, and ever since she mentioned this, I was like, wow, I need to read it. This one follows Oscar and Molly, and I believe they're siblings, and they hear a crash outside during Christmas. I think it might be Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. I'm not 100% sure, but they find an angel, a dazed angel, and they are now in a race to save Christmas. Oh, it just looks so good. They need to track down a missing shepherd, a wise man, a donkey, and the actual Mary and Joseph, who have all crash-landed in Chipping Bottom. Not only will Christmas cease to exist, but they will too. So Jenny Pearson usually writes really comedic middle grade, so I feel like this is going to be hilarious and also very festive too. A huge thank you to the publisher for sending me Layla and the Blue Fox by Kimmy Millwood-Hargrave with Tom DeFreston. I do have a Waterstones exclusive edition pre-ordered, which still hasn't come yet, but I do still have the art copy of it, and I did read this for Can't Believe-a-thon a few months back, and I really enjoyed it so much. I don't want to spoil this one, but I do just want to read the little summary that's on the back. A breathtaking story about one small fox's journey across the Arctic and one girl's journey to find the mother she thought she'd lost. So it is really heartbreaking, but also fantastic. And the Tom DeFreston illustrations are again fantastic. Love it so much. And yeah, I think you'll too if you really enjoyed Julie and the Shark, which is what I read last year. And oh, that one broke me. I loved it so much. I picked up Jack Jolliffe Goes Forth by Henry Chancellor. Never heard of it before, but it gives me like my childhood vibes from the illustrations. It is illustrated by Henry Chancellor as well, but this style of illustration reminds me of books I read as a child, and I absolutely love the map inside as well on the end papers. Oh, so good. This one follows Jack Jolliffe, who is summoned to be a royal keeper at the palace. But deep underground this palace, Jack ends up discovering dragons and fairies and jabberwocks and ghouls, and there's just like this whole fantastical world that's opened up to him. So really excited to read it. It looks so good, but it's so big for a middle grade actually. Very chunky, but it does have illustrations in. So I'm excited. It looks so good. And yeah, last three. I did get from eBay the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. I've been looking for this edition for the last 3 years. It finally came up. Cancer Research UK was selling it through an auction on eBay a few months back. And I won. I got this. And I'm so happy as well. Even though I didn't like really any of the books, I did like The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, but that was about it. This is still like one of the most beautiful copies of a book I own, and I'm still so glad that I own this. It's gorgeous. But yeah, the entire Chronicles of Narnia is garbage, but it's a pretty book nonetheless. Okay, last two. The next book I picked up was because I saw it in one of Lexi's videos, and that is Hocus Pocus. And this is illustrated by Gris Grimley. So it is just a novelization of the movie with illustrations by Gris Grimley. And honestly, the illustrations are stunning. I love this so much. I am obsessed. Look at that. As soon as I saw Lexi's video, I was like, I need to get it. I need to get it. And get it I did. That's when they're performing I Put a Spell on You. Oh, isn't it just like so gorgeous? It's gorgeous. But yeah, Hocus Pocus, it's like one of my favourite films ever. Not just Halloween film, but favourite film ever. Love it so much. It's fab. And finally, thank you so much to the publisher for sending me Egyptian Myths by Jean Menzies or Jean Bookish Thoughts from YouTube. This one is kind of like a follow-up to Greek Myths, which I also got. And yeah, it just goes through the incredible myths of Egypt. And I love Egyptian mythology so much. And yeah, I was so happy to be sent a copy of this because I love Jean. I love absolutely everything she does. And she has a fantastic booktube channel. So I love this so much. And yeah, it's really informative, gorgeous illustrations, illustrated by Katie Ponder. And if you're interested in Egypt at all, this is the perfect one for you. And for some reason, I've been recommended so many videos on King Tutankhamun recently. I think it might be like 100 years since his tomb was discovered or something. So that might be why. But perfect time to get that then. But yeah, that is my huge book haul. I don't think I will ever have a book haul this size again unless I see more complete series I can get in one go. Then I absolutely will do that. Yeah, that's pretty much the book haul. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like if you did and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave all the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on everything. Are there any books in this book haul that you would recommend that I would try and prioritize to read? I would love to know. A huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel and making content like this possible. If you'd like to join my Patreon or follow me on any social media, then all the links are down in the description box. But yeah, that's it, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye!